So here's another reporter bringing up the fact that, hey, Biden's saying that he's taking this seriously. Why should Americans believe him with the fact that 4 sets of classified documents have been found? Is he really taking it seriously? Here's the question. Here's Karine Jean-Pierre's response.
Another question on the documents. You have said, though, from this podium many, many times over the last 2 weeks that this president takes the handling of classified material very seriously. And yet we continue to learn about more documents being found and discovered at his home, including now some that go back decades to his time in the Senate. So why should the American people believe that this president takes classified material seriously and the handling of it?
Look, the American people heard from the president directly on this when he was asked by your colleagues at least twice now about how he sees this process. And he was very clear with the response of what we're currently seeing. And he says, I take this very seriously. He said, I didn't know that the documents were there. And look, I think as it relates to the...
You guys, hand of God, how can you take classified documents seriously when literally they've been in your home, in your garage, in a Biden Penn Center, whatever the heck that may be in terms of where they were at in there? Like, how can you say you're taking it seriously when this has been going on since the 1970s? How? You're not taking it serious at all when you're a senator, when you're a vice president. Hell, makes you wonder what's going on while he's president. You can't take it seriously and continue this charade here when for decades he's had classified documents just sitting around his house and other places. Come on. It's unbelievable. The lying is just so out there. It's ridiculous.
The American people and the president standing with the American people, it is going to be up to them to decide how they see this president. Look, this is a president that came into office. 9 million people had lost their jobs. The unemployment rate was 6.3%, and hundreds of thousands of small businesses had closed their doors. And in the past 2 years, we've created nearly 11 million jobs. The unemployment rate is at a record low at 50-year record low. And the last 2 years were the best years for small businesses applications on record. We talked about that last week, just from here. The president has built the most significant legislative record since LBJ. Let's not forget, there's a CHIPS and Science Act, the bipartisan infrastructure legislation. I just walked through what he's going to see next week when he's traveling to Baltimore and also New York City. The Inflation Reduction.
Folks, if you're curious on what the hell I'm doing, just looking for what this has to do with the question about Joe Biden taking classified documents seriously and if the American public should take it seriously as well. Looked everywhere. Couldn't find it, couldn't hear it. Let me know if I missed it, folks. But as far as what this has anything to do with it, no idea. But, you know, this is how Karine Jean-Pierre works. You know, she saw it in her notebook, so she has to read off on it and start ad-libbing and going on some sort of cockamamie tangent here. So let's continue listening to Knucklehead because the questions will continue with this reporter here, and they're great questions. Let's let the Knucklehead finish, though.
Act, which is going to deal with lowering costs. So the president has been in office for the last 2 years focusing on the American people. And, you know, we saw that. We saw what the American people had to say during the midterms. As it relates, again, as it relates to this, as it relates to this ongoing legal matter, I would refer you to my colleagues at the White House Counsel. Again, they're going to be speaking with all of you in just less than an hour or so.
But I do want to ask one more time, because you have been the one messaging that he takes this seriously. You have also been saying over and over again that you are cooperating fully with this investigation.
That hasn't changed, Mary.
But given that, why then did it take several searches and the FBI coming in to uncover the full extent of the documents at his house?
I understand your question. I've said many times, the president has said many times, he takes this very seriously. You've heard directly from him. You just said that his team is cooperating fully. And just want to add, you know, and you heard from his team that the FBI was invited into the president's home. I'm not going to go beyond that. That was in the statement that was released on Saturday. Again, these are questions that have been answered that have been answered from here. That has been answered for my colleagues. Anything else? My colleagues going to speak to all of you in just a few minutes, a few moments, and you can ask more detailed questions.
One thing that you just said. You just said the president said that he did not know the documents were there. I'm not actually sure he has said that clearly. Are you saying the president did not know?
Well, he said he was surprised. He said he was surprised.
Any of the documents?
He said he was surprised. I'm just going to leave it there, and I'm going to refer you to the White House counsel's office. I'm just repeating what he said, and he said...
What you just said. You said he did not know the documents were there.
He said he was surprised that the documents were there. He said that, and that he takes this very seriously. That's what I want to make sure that the American people understand. And I just refer...
American people might question that, given that you keep every few days it seems we are finding that more documents have been found at his house?
What I'm telling you is what the president has said, which is he takes this very seriously. I will refer you to detailed explanations from statements that have come from his personal lawyer. Again, anything further on this, my colleague is going to be taking your questions, Mary. In the 4 o'clock hour, I would refer you to them. Okay.
Again, you're going to see it brought up by a reporter. They're not getting their questions answered. She's lying. To give you an idea, folks, there was the first phone call with 200 reporters, and it lasted for 45 minutes. And some of the reporters are saying it was really 35 minutes. So who knows what's true and what isn't, but you know all 200 reporters aren't getting their questions answered. It gets brought up the fact that they're saying, look, we've called Joe Biden's personal lawyers like 4 times, and they're still not giving us answers, but yet they're being directed to them. So I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.